Hey Sagittarius, and welcome. So, are you kind of tired of the usual horoscopes? The ones predicting big trips and career wins that just don't quite hit the mark? Well, if you're looking for something a little deeper for 2026, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to look at a guide that focuses less on the stars and more on, that quiet space between your thoughts. Let's just jump right in with a question that might hit a little too close to home. You're achieving things, you're moving, you are doing so much. But is there this feeling in the background, this sense of being totally exhausted, of always being out of breath? Yeah, you're winning, but what's the cost? And here's why. See, your energy, your drive for 2026, it's off the charts. It's world class. You've basically got the engine of a Ferrari. So the problem isn't your power. It's that you're flooring it without any map. You're not exhausted because you're weak. No way. You're exhausted because you're burning all that fuel just for the sake of staying in motion. To really get what I'm talking about, I want to tell you a really old, really simple story. It's about a man and his shadow and a huge misunderstanding that, well, I have a feeling is going to sound pretty familiar to you. So picture this. There's this man, and he is just plagued by this simple but profound fear. He absolutely could not stand the sight of his own shadow, this dark shape that just followed him everywhere. To him, it felt like a judgment, a constant reminder of something he just couldn't shake. And it wasn't just what he saw, it was what he heard too. Every single step, that thump, 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 was the sound of the very thing he wanted to escape from, himself. So he does the only thing that makes sense to him. He runs. He figures, hey, if I'm just fast enough, I can outrun them both. But you can probably see the problem here, right? His logic was totally flawed. The faster he ran, the louder his footsteps became, and the closer his shadow stuck to him. The very thing he thought was a solution was actually making everything so much worse. But he just kept pushing, convinced that more effort was the only answer. He ran, fueled by pure panic, until his body just couldn't take it anymore. And he died. He died from the sheer exhaustion of trying to outrun himself. And here is the really tragic part. The solution wasn't more effort. It was the exact opposite. All he had to do was surrender. Think about it. If he had simply stopped moving, his footsteps would have gone silent. And if he had just sat down in the shade of a tree, his shadow would have vanished. Just like that. So, why did I just tell you that kind of sad story? Because that ancient parable, it's a perfect map of what's going on inside your world in 2026. And I'm saying this with so much care. Your instinct to run, to accelerate, to chase that next horizon, it's coming from the exact same place as the man in the story. It comes from a deep-seated fear of what's going to happen if you just stop. So let's break this down. What are your shadow and footsteps? That shadow you're always trying to outrun? For you, it's the fear of boredom. It's the absolute terror of feeling irrelevant or like you're not doing enough. And those footsteps, thump, 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 that's the constant noise of anxiety. Always telling you to do more, be more, achieve more. And what does this running actually look like in your life? Well, it's overbooking your calendar so much there's literally no room to breathe. It's saying yes to 3 different parties in one night because the thought of being alone is just too much. It's launching 3 new businesses before the first one is even off the ground. And, oh, this is a big one. It's using a joke to escape the second a conversation starts to get too real or too deep. So if running faster isn't the answer, then what is? Well, just like in the story, the solution is completely counterintuitive. It's about finding the shade. And let's be super clear about what the shade means. This is not about being lazy or giving up. Not at all. It's an incredibly powerful, totally active choice. It's the decision to just sit with the quiet, to allow those uncomfortable moments to exist without immediately trying to escape them. Because in that stillness, the fears you're running from, they just lose their power. Okay, if you remember one thing from all of this, let it be this. All the opportunities, the peace, the genuine connection you're chasing at top speed, they aren't at some finish line way off in the distance. They are all waiting for you in the moments you dare to stand still. Your greatest luck this year is found in the pause. All right, so if your old map was just a frantic blur that said run, what does the new one look like? It's actually really simple. It's built on 2 core practices that are designed to help you find and even master the shade. First, sit in silence. I know your instinct when you feel lost is the grand escape, right? To book that flight to Bali. The challenge this year is to find yourself not on a mountain in another country, but on a chair in your own room for 1 hour without your phone. Second, embrace discomfort. The next time a conversation gets deep or awkward, fight that powerful urge to run. Don't crack a joke, don't change the subject. Just sit there with the feeling. Because in that vulnerability, that is where true connection lives. And that is the beautiful paradox of it all. The very things you've been running so hard to find, that real peace, that genuine connection, they aren't at some future finish line. They have been here all along, just waiting for you in the quiet moments you've been too afraid to face. So as you move through 2026 with that incredible engine of yours, I'm gonna leave you with this one question to use as your new map. Before you make your next move, before your next yes, just ask yourself, am I running toward something wonderful, or am I just running away from myself? The answer will tell you everything you need to know.